Movie summary, Howl's Moving Castle, 2004. Sophie is skillfully crafting elegant hats in her shop with quiet focus. Sophie leaves the shop to visit her younger sister Letty. Along the way, she gets hit on by two soldiers and invite her for a cup of tea. Howl suddenly appears and says, "There you are, sweetheart. Sorry, I am late. I was looking everywhere for you." He offers to escort Sophie to her destination. Howl tells Sophie to act normal because he is being followed. Sophie meets her sister Letty and says that she just wants to make sure that her sister is doing okay. Sophie returns to her shop and the Witch of the Waste appears. She transforms Sophie into an old woman. Seeking to break the curse, Sophie leaves home and sets off through the countryside. While looking for a cane, Sophie finds a cursed living scarecrow whom she calls Turnip Head. Turnip Head leads Sophie to Howl's moving castle. She enters the moving castle and meets Calcifer, the fire demon. Calcifer offers to break the curse in exchange for Sophie's help in breaking the spell he's under, which keeps Calcifer bound to the house. Mr. Mayor knocks on the castle's door and looks for Master Jenkins, Howl's alias. He gives an invitation from the king to Markle, Howl's apprentice. Mr. Mayor says, "War is upon us. Every wizard and witches are required to aid our homeland." Someone knocks the door again and Markle opens it. He is looking for Master Pendragon, another Howl's alias, and says that Master Pendragon is required at the palace. Howl returns from the black door and cooks eggs and bacon for breakfast. After cooking, the three have their breakfast. Howl comes up with an idea to send Sophie to the king to pretend as Howl's mother, and say that Howl is such a coward and wizard is too afraid to show his face. Before leaving the castle, Howl gives Sophie a magic charm ring, which connects her to Calcifer and will guarantee her safe return. Howl also assures her that he will follow her to the palace in disguise. At the palace, Sophie meets a dog along the way, whom she mistakenly identifies as Howl in disguise. Sophie also meets the Witch of the Waste. The Witch of the Waste thanks Sophia for delivering her note to Howl. Sophia meets Madame Suleiman, the king's royal sorcerer. Suleiman tells Sophia to take her seat. Madame Suleiman explains that Howl was her last apprentice and adds that Howl is a gifted student. Madame Suleiman stored Witch of the Waste to her real age and removed all her powers. Suleiman warns Sophie that Howl will meet the same fate if he does not participate in the war. Howl arrives to rescue Sophie disguised as the king. Suleiman attempts to manipulate him into becoming a monster. With assistance from Sophie, he narrowly avoids death. The pair manages to flee with the Witch of the Waste and Suleiman's dog, Heen. Soldiers invaded the residences of both Jenkins and Pendragon, Howl's two aliases. Discovering that they were merely abandoned structures concealing their true nature, the castle's enchanted door facilitated passage through both deceptive storefronts. Sophie, the Witch of the Waste and Heen reach the castle. They are met by Markle. Upon Howl's eventual return from battle, Sophie reverts to her younger self. She looks for him in his man cave and admits her desire to break his spell because she loves him, but he responds that it is too late. Howl rebrands his castle to a much simpler, cleaner look and magically linked the castle to Sophie's home, parking the castle itself on the town's outskirts. Howl also added another bedroom. Howl shows his present to Sophie. He takes her to his secret beautiful garden where he used to spend his childhood running around. Howl also shows his secret hideaway, where he spent summer alone when he was a kid. Sophie's mother, under Suleiman's control, arrives and leaves behind a bag that contains a peeping bug as per her instructions. Witch of the Waste finds it and immediately eliminates the bug by throwing it into Calcifer. Regrettably, Calcifer becomes ill after consuming the bug. Sophie's mother states that Sophie is welcome to live with her again, but Sophie indicates her preference to remain with her new family. A few hours later, the town is bombed by enemy aircraft. Howl returns and they hug each other. Howl then heals Calcifer. He tells Sophie he is not going to run away anymore because he has something he wants to protect, Sophie. Afterwards, he takes his leave. Sophie then moves everyone out of the house, removes Calcifer from the fireplace. When Calcifer is out of the castle collapses. Sophie offers Calcifer her braid, allowing Calcifer to power a portion of the remaining castle. The Witch of the Waste realizes that Calcifer has Howl's heart and grabs the fire demon, setting herself on fire. Sophie panics and pours water onto the witch. Calcifer weakens, and the remaining castle collapses, Sophie and Heen falling. The ring that Howl gives her then leads her through the black castle door, and she enters Howl's secret hideaway when he was a child. She opens the door and arrives at Howl's secret beautiful garden. She sees shooting stars falling. Sophie also sees a young Howl. She's traveled back to his childhood. The young Howl saved a dying falling star by giving it his heart. The ring on Sophie breaks and she's whisked away, but tells the two to wait for her in the future, saying she'll come back for them. Sophie and Heen return to the present. Sophie together with Heen find Howl in bird form. Sophie asks Howl to take them to Calcifer. They head back to Calcifer, accompanied by the Witch of the Waste, Markle, and the Scarecrow, who are on a plain wooden platform, moving on the edge of a cliff. Markle asks Sophie if Howl is dead, and Sophie says no. Sophie asks the witch for Howl's heart. She gives it to her, and Sophie places the heart back inside Howl, returning him to life, and freeing Calcifer. With Calcifer gone, the remaining platform collapses and starts falling down the mountain. Turnip Head saves the platform by putting his pole against the falling platform. Sophie warmly kisses Turnip Head on the cheek as thanks, which breaks his curse, revealing that he is the missing prince from the neighboring kingdom and was trapped in the form of a scarecrow until he received a true love's kiss. After seeing Sophie's affection lies with Howl, he promptly heads for home to cease the war, but promises he will see them again. Although Calcifer is now free, he returns to his former company. Heen shows the scene of the happy end and the discovery of the missing prince to Suleiman, and Suleiman decides to put an end to the war. As the castle soars away, Markle and Heen are happily playing. Howl and Sophie kiss on the castle's balcony.